On this episode of Ask Christian Counseling Associates, join us for a conversation with Dr. Tom Weil, Clinical Director of CCA's Western Pennsylvania Division, as he shares insights on identifying and understanding narcissism. Welcome, Tom.
Good to be here.
So, am I living with a narcissist? We're trying to zero in on that today, as people often say or ask us.
Very common question. It really is.
My spouse or this person I know, they're a narcissist. So,
Usually comes up in marriage counseling. I don't know if this has happened to you, but it happened to me many times that it's usually the wife. They'll come back and they'll be like, I was Googling this. What's wrong with my marriage? And I think I figured this out. I don't know if you've heard of this before. It's called narcissistic personality disorder. And I'm pretty sure my husband has it. And it'll come out in session. And then it'll be like a week or two later, the husband will come back and say, I was Googling what's wrong with my marriage. And I don't know if you've heard of this before, but I think my wife has it. It's called borderline personality disorder. And there's a lot of street diagnosis about this. So it's a hard thing to tell whether or not it's a person just is having difficulties and trouble in their marriage or whether or not it's a real issue in a personality disorder and something underneath of that. So. Remember that movie that the gaslighting term came from? It's an old black and white movie. It was about this couple, and they used to have these gas lamps. And there was the pressure that would light the lamps. And if the pressure in the gas line would change, the lights would dim or go a little brighter. And they would be sitting there, and the wife would be like, oh, did the lights change? Did the lights flicker? And he'd be like, no, it's all in your head. Like, what do you mean? I've been sitting here the whole time. The lights didn't change at all. And she was just like, no, I'm telling you, the lights changed. You're crazy. The lights have changed the same. Maybe, I don't know, did you blink? What happened? You are not perceiving reality correctly.
Gregory, are you trying to tell me I'm insane?
It's what I'm trying not to tell myself.
But that's what you think, isn't it? That's what you've been hinting and suggesting for months now.
And that's where that term comes from. And you'll see all throughout that movie that it was that manipulative husband who was just trying to make his wife seem crazy and the belief system that she should belong in an asylum. And so that's how somebody who's using gaslighting in an argument will be like, well, no, you poor thing. You didn't hear that right. You're just not good at communicating. Or I think your memory's not good. But mine is, and yours isn't. So there's that belief system that they're somehow mentally ill in that circumstance. I'm not diagnosing the person who was on the plane ride with us. Recently
there was a narcissist on the plane.
Possibly. All right, I can't diagnose from one interaction. Unfortunately, our plane got delayed in Belgium for 24 hours, and there's this one guy, and he was yelling. He's like, you're canceling this flight because there's not enough people on it. And he's yelling at the people behind the counter. And they're like, that's not why. And so we go the next day and we come back and he's still swearing up and down. He's going this is it. They're just waiting for more people to be on this flight so they can't make money. They need 500 people on the airplane. And I'm looking at the seats going I don't even think you can fit 500 people on the flight. But I was just whatever. I'm not arguing with you because I'm not an expert about these things. I don't know. They could be. But we're talking, and he's just oh yeah. He goes, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm more of a hockey fan than I am of a football fan. And we're talking back and forth. And I said something about the Eagles did pretty good last year. Knowing that they won the Super Bowl. And he kind of didn't even talk like he knew about it. And I was just it's not a big rivalry really in football because the Steelers and the Eagles don't play. But I go hockey, that's a whole nother story. That's ugly.
Yeah.
And I said something. He was foreign, and I said something about the Penguins have a lot of old players. They've got Letang and Malcolm and Crosby, and he goes, Crosby. He goes we used to have him. And I kind of stopped. I'm wait, what? I'm no. Sidney Crosby's entire career has played for the Pittsburgh Penguins and no one else. And he goes, no, I think we drafted him. And I'm going, I don't know what you're talking about, but your assertion that you now know what's going on with this plane and why they canceled it is completely out the window.
So you have somebody who's really forceful.
Yeah, and no basis in reality.
They talk with a lot of authority, and in some circumstances, it can make you doubt yourself. And that would be the kind of leverage that you're talking about that goes on in that narcissism, or that narcissistic dynamic. You can get yourself into scenarios that approximate that.
Yeah, and I even kind of had to check myself, and I'm wait, yeah, I remember when we drafted Crosby, I know this, it's not even a close to some other fact.
The same kind of stuff goes on in the church. You have people who will take on a position symbolically that they represent the will of God. It's very difficult to...
Yeah, I mean, that's one that, it's a little of a dicey thing to talk about, but like, that's something that the narcissist will play too. Well, God told me to tell you. And if you talk to them and they're like, well, if you're arguing with me, you're arguing with God. And that's the one that, like, a Christian narcissist, or say like a narcissist who knows about Christianity, we should probably put it that way, can really pull that in. And it's so hard. And you see this maybe, not, am I living with a narcissist, but do I have a narcissist in a leadership position in my church? Like, that's hard to grapple with.
You have these criteria, but let's, describe that 5 out of these 9 things that I'm going to list have to be there. Grandiose self-importance. 2, preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, beauty, ideal love. 3, person believes they are special or unique. Number 4, you require excessive admiration. Number 5, self-entitlement. I deserve. 6, interpersonally exploitive. Number 7, lacks empathy. Number 8, often envious, believes others are envious. 9, arrogant or haughty behaviors. What's haughty? It's proud. Think about how many of those that you see. And when you look at that, it's very arrogant. And it becomes obvious, but it all happens on a spectrum. There's like seeds of this, and going back to my example of the Milan, diagnosing everybody, there was things that people were checking off that were sort of narcissistic, but everybody was checking them off.
Right.
And I think about it and I say, we all have the potential to become this way.
And we definitely all engage in some narcissistic type of behaviors from time to time. Yeah. But it's when it becomes the personality issue, that's where it becomes the bigger issue. Because whether you look at these terms, they're very popularized and they're weaponized all the time when we fight with our spouses. You're gaslighting me. And I'm like, you're sitting there in a session and you're like, I don't know if you know what that word means, because we just keep overusing it over and over and over and over again.
Right. How can I tell the difference between healthy confidence and narcissism?
2 things. It's okay to be confident in an ability and a skill. We can call that self-efficacy. You're allowed to think that you're good at doing something. I think I'm a good counselor, good farmer, if that's my kids and my wife, if I'm a good parent or a spouse or not. But is that also paired with a sense of deep caring for the people around you, the altruism, and empathy?
So exactly what you're saying, healthy confidence respects others.
Yes.
Narcissism inflates
right.
self-worth.